Welcome back to another episode of the Low End Marauders podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I go by the name of Nick, still holding things down for everybody here on the show. Still trying to get with Jared, get him back on the show. Still working with Kyle to get him back on the show, so that way we all can give you our takes on what's going on here in the world of hip hop. A lot to talk about for this episode. We're going to talk about 21 Savage and his Fuck the Streets movement that's been going on due to the release of his new record. We're also going to talk about the game right here in just a little bit. But also I do want to give my takes on, since 2025 has come to an end, on the top 5 people who I think had the worst 2025 here in the world of rap. But all that's coming. But like I said, let's get back into a person who we haven't talked about in a long time here on the show, that being The Game. So recently, The Game has been doing a lot of interviews lately. I don't know if people have seen his Shannon Sharpe interview that he did. I want to say like a couple weeks back or a couple days, whenever that was. But anyway, he went on another podcast, back on Big Podcast, back on since today is the 23rd, since I'm recording this. So yesterday or a couple days ago, he went on the show and he recently talked about why he wasn't a part of Kendrick Lamar's Pop Out show back in 2024. Now, as we all know, and as we all talked about here on the show, that Kendrick Lamar's Pop Out concert probably was the moment in the best hip hop moment, or a live streaming show, whatever you want to call it. Back then, with everybody that you can think of coming out from the West Coast to represent, surprises from Tyler the Creator and Steve Lacy, Dom Kennedy, a moving tribute to Nipsey Hussle, Absol, J-Rock, Schoolboy Q, and Kendrick all reuniting on stage. Just a big moment. I kind of wish I want to go back and relive that and find that if it's available somewhere on the internet. But anyway, he recently went on this podcast, and he pretty much told the host why he didn't want to attend the show. So with The Game being on there, he said, quote, it's pretty much too much gang politics with me when I come somewhere, he says. It was niggas at the Pop Out that I don't fuck with, so I go to the Pop Out. Bring my homies to the Pop Out and get into a confrontation at the Pop Out when a nigga is having a great moment, bro, unquote. So when the interviewer keeps asking questions of his line of thinking and notes that the night was all about unity, it seems like The Game was still, being pressed harder for the questions that he was asking. And then he's still doubled down by saying, quote, you say that, but all it takes is one nigga from this shit to get out of pocket with one nigga, and that's what comes with me. He doubled down on, unquote. So the one thing The Game is trying to make clear is that it wasn't about him being scared. He just didn't want to get involved with whatever gang politics that were going on in the West Coast at the time. He also went on a little bit later to say, quote, if something happened to me, whoever did it is getting smoked, nigga, period. Because my shit is already in position, unquote, he says. So that was The Game's reasoning on why he didn't show up for the show. So for my take on that, I've never been to California, never been to the West Coast. I personally don't know what LA life, gang life is all about. I don't really care for it. It's not my thing. I stay out of it as best as I can when it comes to that sort of shit. But it's really hard for The Game, for me to believe The Game when he says this, when there was a video that came out, I want to say like a week or so or days or so after the show was over, and him pretty much just explaining about how he stayed at home, he wasn't invited, and things like that too. And he just gave this explanation for a good, I think it was 17, 18 minutes in a video. If I can find it, I will post that in the show notes. But it really is hard for me to believe the game whenever it does come to things and situations like this too, because with the game giving me this explanation, but then also having the explanation of him saying, I wasn't invited, I just stayed at home, blah blah blah, over on just weeks after the show. It just goes to show, and it just tells me like, okay, well, which is it? Is it that you weren't invited, or is it because you have gang politics or whatever the explanation was? And so, like, which is it? Is it Uchi Wally or is it One Mike? As Jay-Z once said. So it's hard for me to distinguish which excuse is real for him. It's hard for me to try to figure out which excuse it was for him. But I definitely do want to say that when it comes to the game and these sort of situations and this sort of explanations, it just goes to show me personally how to not age your rap career gracefully, because it seems like the game has just been doing the most when it comes to interviews and lately, with him saying, he's the best rapper out of the West Coast, nobody can touch him, which I do like the confidence, but, it's hard to, distinguish that when Kendrick, another rapper from Compton, is just running laps and miles around you at this point, especially, with Not Like Us being one of the biggest singles of 2024. And I do believe that I will give the game his flowers. I will say that he did have the West Coast jumping from time he jumped on with 50 Cent and G-Unit way back in about 20 years ago. Wow, I feel old. And, I do remember being a fan of the documentary. Then off to the next album, Doctor's Advocate. And I just remember blasting that with a couple friends since I was, fresh out of high school, doing college classes, things like that, too. So, I do believe that, like Game says, he is an incredible rapper. But, with all these things that he's doing and all these things that he's saying in interviews, it's very hard for me to believe that with what he says, it's it's fact or it's law or whatever you want to call it. But with everything that he's been doing, I really think that when it comes to the game, he's gotta, he's really got to do better with some of these interviews. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad person. It's just like, when you are coming on interviews and you are doing this and this and this, try to get your story straight for the fans, because, in the age where digital footprints and videos are just plastered everywhere on the internet, a lot of us are going to go back, we're going to retrace what you said, and we're going to hold it up against you, in the court, in the social media court of law. So with the game, to say that he, was not invited, to say he was not invited, I will believe that story more, especially since he has been pushing the narrative that him and Kendrick's opponent at the time, Drake, were at odds. I do remember that him saying, Drake was his best, was his friend, he wasn't going to get in between the two. And with that, a lot of people just pretty much said, okay, you made your choice, that's where you're going to go. And I feel like with him saying that, that's when he made the decision, okay, go be Drake's best friend over there, and he chose the side. So, with that being said, I do believe him being not being invited to the show is a more likely excuse than I do believe, the whole gang politics things that he's saying on this podcast. But you know, with the game, he's in his 40s. I don't think he really needs to be, giving these excuses on why he didn't do this, why he hasn't gone there. He is an incredible rapper, I will say that. But also, when it does come to the game, it's just that you gotta do something better than that. You gotta, if you do have this excuse, at least stick with it. Don't try to insult the fans. Don't try to insult everybody else these. Uh, by giving these half-assed excuses, in my opinion. So for the game, I just want him to double down on what he's saying, and just try to give good excuses and try to make the people believe what you're saying and all this, because again, personally, I don't buy the whole game politics excuses. uh, but again, the game is in his 40s. He shouldn't be trying to give excuses and things like this out like that. But anyway, when it comes to that, I definitely do think the game needs to be better prepared, especially for interviews in 2026. But again, we shall see what happens with him on that for the new year. Other than that, let's go ahead. Let's keep the show moving. We're going to talk about 21 Savage and this whole fuck streets movement that's been going on online with him. In case you forgot, people, 21 Savage, he has dropped a new album, What Happened to the Streets, just recently. And with that, he's now been launching this whole fuck the streets movement that has been going on throughout the album. If you've been listening to it, I have yet to listen to the entire album. I have heard some bits and pieces to it. I do like the beat to Step Brothers. I will say that. I really love how it just sounds like a slowed down version of DMX's Stop Being Greedy. But anyway, with that, a lot of people have been critical online about what 21 Savage has been doing. And another rapper fresh out of the pen, Blueface, has made it clear that he does not want to be a part of any of these movements that he has going on. He pretty much has shaded the movement by going on social media, going on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called today, by saying, quote, "Next time say fuck your street, LOL. I'm not shaking none of you niggas' hands backstage no more. I never thought I'd see the day niggas saying fuck the streets for a 21 feature, fuck the industry," Blueface wrote. And before that, he also posted, he loves the streets after the movement had gained popularity, and even getting, co-signs from artists like G Herbo, Pooh Shiesty, and, you know, and pretty much slamming them by saying, you never should have jumped the curb by, trying to stop making stuff for the streets and things like that. But he also had a lot of people online trying to talk about the movement too. 21 Savage also kicked off by reaching out to Young Thug by writing, by adding him and Gunna by saying, y'all love each other. You knew Gunna wasn't no gangster when he told you the first time, and we swept it under the rug for you. He wasn't trying to leave you hanging. Fuck the streets, and ain't get shit but some trauma from that shit, unquote. And that's something that he posted online. So with everything that's been going on, him and Thug have been going back and forth by saying, fuck the streets. and a lot of a lot of artists online have been, backing up, the fuck the streets movement, and seemingly, separating themselves from where they came from. Another street rapper, Bootsy Badass, has voiced his thoughts about the movement by saying, by being critical of it, by saying the streets was being responsible for our success, and with him going online to say some things about that too. So, with my take on this whole thing is that I'm kind of backing 21's "fuck the streets" movement, and again, apologize for the language that I'm using. But anyway, I do kind of back it because I do like the fact that when you get a certain age, you just got to leave that shit behind you, because well, I won't tell on anybody else, but I'll speak for myself when I say, at the time of this recording, I'm 37. I turned 38 in August. And there comes a certain point and there comes a certain time of your life where you just got to leave that street shit behind you. Yes, if it does play a pivotal role in your success or career, that's fine if you want to do that and you want to shout them out, give love to the people that made that helped make your career, from street niggas selling dope to gangsters, all the way out there in the West Coast. I got no beef with them. Don't come after me. But anyway, yeah, I have no problem with you, wanting to salute, wanting to acknowledge, wanting to, um, you know, give you thanks for what you did. But as a 37-year-old, there's got to come a time where you got to leave that ignorant shit behind. There's got to come a time where you got to, just leave. You got to leave, that street shit behind you. You got to leave selling dope. You got to leave throwing gang signs up. And you just got to move on with life. Because, like I said, in the 37 years I've been on this earth, there has not been anything good that comes out from these streets. It really results in, jail time or somebody being lowered in a casket. I know all of us here on the show, we've all had, friends who have been part of the streets. We've hung out with them. And I think with my friendship with Jared and Kyle, it's definitely a strong relationship, because I know we all knew people at the time and probably still do know people who are still affiliated with the streets. And with them, they I think they kind of respect our decision of us just going like, nah, we don't want to do that. Nah, that ain't for us. We just kind of want to do our own thing. And so with the group of friends that I have, with Kyle, with Jared, I definitely do love and I do appreciate the friendship that we do have, not being involved with whatever street shit that's been going on. And, with that friendship still going strong about 20 plus years from now, today, I should say. And, with us doing this podcast and us, supporting each other with all the positive shit that we're doing, with Kyle doing his whole DJ thing, that we still post on our social medias pages and things like that. So I can definitely do say that, I'm happy with everything that the three of us have done, and, the three of us still being friends to this day, but I'm digressing off the subject. So with that, like I said, there's nothing positive that comes from this. There's nothing great that comes from this. And again, at a certain age, you got to tell yourself, like, what's in these streets for me to do? I mean, I get that, some people, they resort to it because they can't get a job. They can't, they jobs aren't paying enough money, so they got to do what they got to do in order to get money, or they got to do what they got to do in order to, provide from whether it's for family, whether it's for themselves, whatever they got to do, whether it's selling dope, or just being a part of whatever they got to do. Or, but I definitely do think that uh, you just got to move on from it. I mean, because I get that you got to show love and you got to do something for them for your career, but at the same time, there's nothing going on. There's nothing out here that's worth staying for. And I definitely do think there's got to be a certain age where you just have to put that shit behind you and you just got to, get away from it. And I know with all the documentaries I've seen, with all the gangland I've seen, it's definitely hard to get out of, gangs and, that street life, because when people do you want to get out of that gang and street life, it really results in, permanent injury or death. So I do think, watching all those documentaries and shows from Gangland to United United Gangs of America, I think that airs on Vice TV, and watching that and just really getting an idea of what street and gang life, excuse me, is like. So I'm definitely with 21. I definitely do think you got to leave the streets behind, and with all these rappers like Bootsy, I mean, and even I think 6ix9ine was trying to get a part be a part of this fuck the streets movement too, with him dismissing it, and I think he even did like a diss song about it too recently. And it's just like, especially when it comes to 6ix9ine, like, the streets haven't really been that kind to you ever since you ratted. But with some of the things that 6ix9ine has been saying online, when it comes to Young Thug, Gunna, and all these other rappers that's been going through trial and legal errors and things like that, he does. I will have to say and hate to admit that he's right. Sometimes you got to call people out for some of the stupid shit that they're doing. You got to call people out because, hey, that's not right. And I was, pretty much shunned and things like that. But again, also at the same time, it was your misgivings, and you got caught doing X, Y, and Z. So unfortunately, that's something that you got to live with, and that's what you got to face with for the rest of your life. And just be careful when it does come to doing things when it comes to street life. Is really all I can say. But again, I definitely do think that there's nothing good that comes out for the street life again. But you just got to move on from it. And I think with 21 saying, hey, I'm trying to move on from this. I think it's him just saying, hey, nothing good is coming from it. I applaud him for it. I definitely do love the maturity. I love that he's trying to, do something or try to reach a new audience by saying, hey, I'm growing up, I'm getting past it. And so definitely I do love this sense of maturity from him. But for everybody else, like I said, you just got to grow up. You just got to move on from it. Nothing good comes from it. Nothing. It's worth nothing. I mean, nothing's out here that's worth dying for. There's no drug dollar amount or anything that's worth losing your freedom or losing your life over. That's all I can really say about this movement that 21 has got going on. So I do applaud it, but also for others there who are kind of dismissing my comments, there have been plenty other artists that have pretty much moved away from the streets, like Jay-Z, like Snoop Dogg, are two that come to mind off the top of my head. Jay-Z, he started moving away from the streets. He started putting out grown ass music, and music that has still aged pretty well, if I do say so myself. And Snoop Dogg, slowly he started moving away from doing street shit and gang banging and all that stuff, to being everyone's favorite uncle, whether you love his political views or not, and everything that he's doing. I mean, with Snoop, he's been doing movies. He's doing what's the NBC show? He's doing The Voice. He's a judge on there. There we go. To just being everyone's just favorite rapper turned unintentional comedian. So I definitely do like the maturity, and plus you can only do that for so long too. And another rapper that also comes to mind, kind of feel like Schoolboy Q is slowly starting to push away from all that street life that he's doing to raise his kids, to be a family man, which is which has which has nothing, which is nothing wrong with that. But I definitely do applaud that. I definitely do think that once rappers, they're getting to that point of life, they got to start moving away from that, because if not, you're going to be involved in some street shit that you don't want to be a part of. And I mean, look what happened to what's his name that passed from Migos, Takeoff. Yeah, look what happened to Takeoff. I mean, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad what happened with him. But I definitely do think that we just got to move on. We just got to grow from it. But other than that, that's all I have to say about Quavo. I mean, about 21's Fuck the Street movement. But let's go ahead. Let's get into some more 2025 fuckery. Excuse me. I can't even talk while doing this. But as we all know, since this is being released on Christmas Eve 2025, the year has pretty much come to an end. A lot of good things have happened here in rap. I'm personally loading up a list of some of my favorite 10 albums from the year. Stay tuned for that. But with everything good that has dropped in rap, there's also been some negative that has happened throughout the year too, with a lot of rappers, fucking up, not doing anything positive, not really sticking to the formula, or just have been dropping some of the worst music of their career. But with everything being said, 2025 has not really been kind for for my 5 picks of rappers who have had the absolute worst year, being 2025. Now, before I get into this, I just want to say that this isn't a ranking. There's no list. These are just my personal picks for the top 5 rappers who have had just a horrible, no good, very bad year. And with everything that's going on, hopefully they should be able to turn it around in 2026. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll probably come out of this being like one of the greatest, to have a good 2026, or maybe we still shun them and we just keep on moving with our lives. But let's go ahead. Let's just go ahead and get one of the participants who I think had a terrible 2025, and that being Diddy. I mean, let's just go ahead. Let's just get it out the way. Diddy had a horrible 2025. With the legal ramifications that's been going on with him, to the unfortunate video that came out with him being in a hotel, and him dragging his then girlfriend Cassie, and just beating her with nothing but a bath towel on. 2025 has just been absolutely horrible for him, with the court case going on and everything that's came to light with him and these freak offs, and people coming to stand to talk about and testify against him at the time. Um, with I do remember seeing like Big Sean talking. No, not Big Sean. I'm sorry, like Kid Cudi coming to the stage dressed like Roger Klotz from Doug. Look that up, and him giving his testimony, I guess you could say, about everything that has been going on throughout that time. Like I said, he's been hit with that federal criminal trial. He's been convicted with 2 prostitution related charges, and he has been sentenced with over 4 years in prison. But he has been acquitted for serious sex trafficking and racketeering charges that could have resulted in a life sentence. So I don't know who's looking out for Diddy, but he definitely did escape that. With his trial going on, like I said, we had witnesses that came on to Kid Cudi had to go in. He got summoned to court and he had to testify against and give his whole thing. And then with, like I said, the sentencing, the jury pretty much had reached a on again, off again verdict. Guilty of 2 counts of transportation, not guilty on sex trafficking, and he's pretty much has been sentenced to over 4 years in federal prison, and he's still to this day trying to appeal the case and try to get himself out early. And with all that, there's still the 50 Cent documentary that's on Netflix that came out. To a lot of people flooding my timeline, my personal Facebook timeline, when it debuted last month, and everybody has been talking about it. And it really does show Diddy in a worse light. And for me, since I watched a little bit about it, sorry, I work, but it really does make me wonder, like, with him being caught in 4K, beating his girlfriend Cassie in nothing but a bath towel, like I said, it really makes me wonder, like, what else did he do that wasn't caught on camera? It makes me think, what was said on, making the band when he was, the mentor or tutor or whatever it was back on MTV, when it came to the band, when it came to Danity Kane, when it came to Day 26, and also when it came to, the Pluto out of everything for that entire series revolving around Diddy, Donnie Klang. It really does make me think or wonder, like, what else was going on that show that, we didn't see. Like, how bad did he treat these kids? Did he, do something more or say less than what we saw that was posted back then during that time? So with that, I mean, it's really hard to see, and it's really hard to think, what else Diddy could have done that we also don't know about. I also had a good conversation about this with my mom at the time, and she has her own little Diddy conspiracy theory. I won't say what she told me, but that's between her and I. But anyway, with Diddy, I really don't know what to say. This was a terrible, terrible, terrible 2025 for him. Hopefully, things can get better for him. Hopefully, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with, when he does get out of jail and how everyone's going to treat him after this. Do I think, his career is over? For now, I say yes, because it's very hard to come back from, being caught beating a woman on TV and on video, and then being aired on TV. because people forget it took a long time for Chris Brown to redeem himself after he was caught beating Rihanna, and pretty much with that image and with what that incident that happened, even though Chris Brown has gotten back in the spotlight, he's still selling out tours. With that, Chris Brown's career really never hit the heights as it did when he first came out back in 2007, 2008, around that time. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Diddy when he comes out. So I'll definitely be keeping my eyes out on that. Another person who I feel like had a terrible 2025 is Young Thug. Oh man, for Young Thug, it's just really simple. All he had to do was just keep his mouth shut, do his time, and just make music. That's all you had to do. But instead, with everything's going on, that's happening, it seems like like everyone has pretty much turned his back on him faster than you can say whoop-de-doo. He came out of jail. He was sentenced to I think just house arrest and just staying in the Atlanta area, which I do believe that I talked about here on the show. Then he came out with UY Scuddy way back a couple months ago, and with that, and with everything that has happened before it, with him, with these leaked jail calls, him, saying that pretty much taking Drake's side for the whole Kendrick Lamar Drake beef that happened, to publicly admitting that he cheated on his girlfriend, now fiance Mariah the Scientist, over the phone, to pretty much denouncing Gunna and being hurt by him, to this critically panned from fans and by critics album that he dropped. And with that, even though it does feature Money on Money, which I believe had Future on there, I'm not sure if that was it or another album. He pretty much has been, trying to pick up the pieces for his career. It seems like, with that critically panned album and that, cover that even made me say, like, what the fuck, with him being in, having, I guess you could say white skin, Caucasian skin, whatever you want to call it. It's just been a complete mess. And with this album that he dropped, it just also goes to show you who had the better pen out of him in Gunna, because Gunna had hands down a completely better album than him. And after that, with what happened throughout the year, he made a surprise appearance at the BET Award with a mask, and just being all hugged up and booed up with Mariah, like I said, man, and him going on Perspective, the Perspectives podcast, like I talked about here on the show, and being heard about Gunna and everything like that. It seems like with he's really got to do something big for his career in 2026, because now that he has proposed to his girlfriend Mariah the Scientist on stage, it's going to be interesting. And before I forget, he even bragged about how he knocked her up, which I personally don't I mean, I understand why he did it. I mean, he's happy. I get it. But I mean, just a weird choice of words. But anyway, with that, it's going to be interesting to see, what's going to happen with him after this in 2026, because people said this album, from what I've heard, it's bad. It's horrible. It's no good. It's trash. It's definitely going to be, he definitely needs to redeem himself in 2026 with new music. And, he's got to do something to better himself and better what he put out, because Jesus Christ, this was bad. But that's number two for me. Third person who I have to say had a terrible, terrible 2025 is Lil Wayne. Yes, Lil Wayne had a bad 2025, probably one of the worst years of his career, if I have to be honest with you. So what made Wayne's 2026 a terrible, terrible year, you might ask? Well, before I get to the Carter Six, it was just pretty much him being, having the fans, trying to champion him as, a Super Bowl performer in his own home city of New Orleans, which I did talk about on the show, and him just saying, and a lot of people just being let down and, just wondering like, oh, that should have been his moment. He shouldn't have, he should have done that. To which, like, I still stand by saying, like, what could have Wayne performed on, I think that aired on, the Super Bowl aired on Fox earlier in the year. What could he have performed from his catalog on the Super Bowl stage in primetime hours? I'm still standing and I'm still sticking with that with his deep catalog, because like I said, we're not getting The Block Is Hot, we're not getting the Carter 1, we're not getting the Carter 2. I feel like if he were to do that, everything would have been watered the fuck down from, and I definitely think it would have just been Wayne doing collaborations and having surprise appearances. But again, that's just me. So I definitely do think that's what would have happened. But anyway, with what happened with Wayne this year, other than that, some of the highlights that he has had, that is, he did drop Welcome to Collie Grove, his continued successful album with 2 Chainz, and that also successful Amazon Music live stream concert that he did. I want to say back in April or whenever that was, but I was definitely glad that he did that. Another thing, but some of the lows that Wayne has had this year definitely had to have been, the release of the Carter Six, and in some opinion, I can't even talk. I'm sorry. In some people's words, especially around that time when it was released, it had the distinction of being the worst album of 2026. I mean, of 2025. Sorry. Because with I already gave my review on it as well. Maybe I may go back and re-listen to it to see if it still holds up as being one of the worst albums of the year, since a lot of projects have dropped since then. With that, I mean, definitely, with him dropping the Carter Six and that being a complete dud. And for me personally, I didn't have high hopes listening going into that album, since the Fix Before the Six was not that great for me either. So with the Carter Six definitely tainting a pretty good rap franchise series to him, not even showing up at the Hot Boys versus No Limit versus that took place back in October. It definitely, even though he was, according to some people, that he was like 10 minutes away, even though he was on tour, a quick little, poke your head in, say hey to everybody, and, go on to, whatever you had to do would have been nice. It would have been great. But, just having, a concert tour, I personally don't know what time it was that started over there for his tour stop in Vegas, since that's where the Versus battle was. Would have been a nice little surprise to have people talking. But again, when it does come to that Versus, I do think Master P and No Limit definitely did take that round. And it was also nice to see Versus come back too. But for Wayne in 2026, man, for him, he really has to, redeem himself with putting out some better quality music, because I definitely do think with some of the with the music that he's put out this year, it's just been kind of subpar. I don't really think that it's the best that he's put out, and I do get that there are some rappers that have hit their slumps too, but definitely I don't want to sit here and say that it's drug use that's kind of starting to kick in and starting to make everything just go bad for him, but you know so, Wayne just got to give me something better in 2026, especially since people were yelling and screaming. He should have did Super Bowl. He should have did this, and pretty much with the Carter Six, it just pretty much proved like no, he shouldn't have been on that stage, especially how with how people said how trash of an album that was. But anyway, going on to number 4, I definitely do have to say that Drake has had a bad 2025. With Drake, I'm apart from me, just been talking about everything that he's been doing nonstop throughout throughout the year. He's definitely has been going through a lot of legal stuff too. It definitely did begin with Drake in this high profile lawsuit that he had against Universal Music Group, and accusing them of boosting numbers of Kendrick's Not Like Us and harming his OVO brand, and to later on a couple months later him having his lawsuit thrown out by saying it was a part of war of words. There we go. And in a heated rap battle, and Drake just pretty much saying he's still gonna try to sue, so he doesn't look like he looks like a winner in some people's eyes. So with that being said, a lot of people, including myself, we all laughed at him losing this lawsuit. And, even though there was some people saying, oh, it's supposed to help other artists, it's supposed to do this, it's supposed to do that, it's supposed to do da, 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 da. And, with him doing that and more success of Kendrick's Not Like Us winning, I think 5 Grammys earlier in the year, at the Grammys, it definitely does it definitely did make Drake even more pissed off by still, trying to reactivate this lawsuit again with UMG and everything else that's been happening. And then later on in the year, he started to tease the fans with this entire Iceman album. And he has dropped a couple singles from it, but it seems like with everything that he's been doing, it seems like the people just aren't really, well, I won't say they just don't care. I just feel like some of the tracks just aren't hitting the same. What Did I Miss? He dropped a video for that. Which debuted number 2 on the Billboard charts, and he was a little bit pissed off about that, since I can't remember who took the number 1 spot for that week. Then he dropped Which One with British rapper Central C. That didn't do a damn thing on the charts, because that, from what I remember reading, the highest that been was number 20. He's just been dropping single after single after single, or episodes to have people hyped up for this album, to even having streamer Kai Cenat saying with the 3rd episode that he dropped, I can't remember what it was, how it was complete ass and he couldn't fake it. And to even Drake, trading shots at an early to mid 20-year-old streamer, and it's just like, come on, Drake, you better than that. But with that being said, with everything that has been going on, he has dropped some stuff. He did drop Some Sexy Songs for You, which became his 14th number 1 album, and pretty much just kind of overshadowing Party Next Door, now that I think about it, because since people want to label that as a Drake album, I also did talk about how bad that was, how bad that album was at the time too. And yeah, it some songs did not age well, especially Meet Your Padre. Jesus Christ, that might be the worst song of the year next to Will Smith's Pretty Girls, but that's just me. And man, plus with everything that he's been going on too, he's been touring across overseas. You know, still trying to show, you know, he's still tough. He's still that guy, and just having his fans just being ready for this Iceman album. And with that, me personally, I'm pretty much sure that this is about to come out in 2026. So hopefully, with all the preparation and everything that this man has been doing for this album, delivers. Because if he is doing all this for this album and it is less than stellar, then I definitely do think that it's time for Drake to finally take a break. Really needs to sit down and think to himself, okay, what's next for me to do? Okay, what's the next move? Since depending on what Iceman does, it's just going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Because you know, it's now that it seems like he's trying to, you know, kick it with British rappers, and you know, him trying to be a best friend to Sexy Red. God knows what else this man is going to put out, what he's going to try to shoot for, or things like that too. When it does come to this album, also he really just needs to. With Billboard, no, I'll take it back. With Billboard not having a number one in the top 40 for the last however many weeks I said it was, you know, it definitely should be some kind of kick in the ass for Drake to be like, oh, okay, well, you know, I got to do something. I got to drop something pretty soon. So hopefully he can, hopefully he will next year for this album that he has coming out. And I definitely do think with what's going on, hopefully he gives me something good. He gives me something worth listening to, and he definitely does give me something that is worth listening to. Also, so for the last person that I have that has had a terrible 2025, let's keep the Young Money train rolling and saying Nicki Minaj, because Nicki has had a bad 2025, especially with everything that's been going on with her recently, with her going you know, endorsing Donald Trump and, you know, the Republican Party, and saying, you know, hey, you know, these guys are doing I kind of like you guys. And listen, as one of the co-hosts of the show, I don't care what your political affiliation is. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republicans, whatever. So whatever you're a part of, that's cool. Especially since we're not a political show here. We just talk about rap and hip hop. But anyway, with everything that has been going on, Nicki has had a terrible 2025, especially with people, you know, calling her MAGA Minaj now, which I do like that nickname. I don't know who pinned it, but, you know, good job for them. With everything that's been going on with her, you know, calling out and shading Cardi B for her success for Am I the Drama, and things like that too. Even, you know, going as far as saying, you know, wishing death on Cardi B's kids and things like that. It's just really been just a bad 2025 for her. You know, with her going doing that, and her just, you know, talking with internet personality, well, the wife of internet personality, Erica Kirk on shows and things like that too. It's really hard to you know, try to rally behind her and try to get trying to become a fan, because now it seems like some of her fan base is really starting to turn against her. It feels like a lot of people are are just trying to start, not only not only starting to distance themselves from her, but a lot of people are starting to think with her trying to go for for the Republican Party, that some people think that she's just doing it to get her husband, who who is a how can I say this, a a sexual predator, I guess we could say that. Um, but with everything that's been going on with her, in her digital footprints that's been going on online, it really just goes to show how bad some of the things that she's been doing has been coming to light. Wishing death on like I said, wishing death on Cardi B's kids. Airing out Jay Z and Rock Nation, and and pretty much just saying how much she hates them, and and it's just not becoming a good. And it seems like she's just becoming more and more loud and outspoken online than she has been for just picking up a mic and rapping, because she has had a good with the late release of her last album coming out about this time last year. It seems like 2025 was supposed to be a good year for her with everything that she's been doing, but apparently it hasn't been, with everything that's been going on. And I definitely do think, with Nicki being a part of this, these digital footprints, and her trying to be a part of the Republican Party and showing love for Donald Trump, it's really going to make things worse for her, especially now that she's teasing another new album coming out in March, I believe it was. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. It's going to be interesting to see if people are going to listen to it, or if she's still going to stand on business with the Republican Party and try to release this album and see what happens from here. So with all that's been going on with Nicki, hopefully this album does do something right. Hopefully this album does get people to listen to it, and hopefully she just choose lyrics over that party. But that's definitely my take on everything that's been going on. Sorry. But hopefully we'll see what happens with that and how that plays out come March when this supposed new album drops. But anyway, other than that, those are my 5 picks for who had a terrible 2025. Stuttering and stumbling through all that. Finally glad I got that out. And let me know in the comments, if you're watching this on YouTube, who else had a horrible 2025, or if I missed somebody, let me know. But other than that, let's get into shout outs and album recommendation for me. Shout out to everyone who's still been listening, still been rocking with us this entire 2025. We thank you guys. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys for still sticking with us, for still listening to us, even though it's just been me. I do thank you, and I do appreciate that from you guys too. We will have a new merchandise coming in over on the shop. The link for that will be down in the show notes in the description. Shout out to everybody. To everybody still doing good. Everybody, please be safe out there. Shout out to Kyle. He's still doing his mashups, and he's still getting gigs out. He's still getting gigs out there in South Georgia. So since you follow him on our Instagram page, follow. We do have his handle in our description. Go follow him to go see his mashups and everything that he's been doing as well. Shout out to everybody who still, like I said, still rocking with us. Oh, and before I forget, shout out to T.I., who's trying to do something new, trying to get into the whole stand-up comedy game post-rap career, which is a very big step in my opinion. As a person who has done stand-up in front of a live crowd, yes, that is something that I have done. It's not easy. It's not an easy feat. It's really hard. Especially to try to make and write jokes and have them be funny, and then to present them to a live crowd. It's definitely challenging. And I do remember when I first started doing that is that I had to learn you're going to fail. Some jokes aren't going to work. Some jokes are. So with T.I. doing that, I do applaud him. I am very interested to see, since there is a trailer for that, if I'll find the video for that, and I'll include it in the show notes as well. For everybody to see if you haven't already. But shout out to him for doing that. Album recommendations. What can I give you? You know what? I'm going to stick with the females for this one, and I'm going to say one that you can an album that I recommend is a collaborative album called Desire Crowns from Buffalo rappers Che Noir and Love the Genius. If you haven't heard this one, this is a very good album. I was very surprised on how well this album is. I do love, back and forth between the two. I love some of the songs that they put out, including Not Me, Topanga, Flight. Flight features former TDE artist Reason on there, and he killed it with his verse. I think he was the only person who had a featured verse on there. I could be wrong. But what else? Black Girl, which has a different version. Some of Two Evils. So if you just want to hear just female MCs just go back and forth, bar for bar, go check out Desired Crowns from Che Noir and Love the Genius. Definitely a great album. That may or may not make my top 10 best albums list. Only thing I can say is just stay tuned, see if it's gonna pop up on there, or see if it won't. But other than that, I think that's it. I think that's a wrap. We thank you guys for tuning in, for listening to us, and also for watching us too, since I'm starting to do video podcasts now. So if you have Spotify and you're watching this, again, thank you. I salute you for watching us. Plus, this is also we're also uploading to our YouTube channel too, youtube.com/Low End Marauders podcast. Excuse me, Low End Marauders, not without the podcast. Sorry. I'll put the link in the description for that as well. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that does it for us here for the final episode of 2025. We thank you guys for listening. We thank you guys for watching us. If you're watching me on Spotify or YouTube, we thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you in the new year for 2026. And we'll see you for another episode of the Low End Marauders podcast next time. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.